Got a like already. Who is that? Got one person in here. 2 likes with 1 person. If you guys get a chance, wave in the chat or something so I know you're here. What's up, Crispy? Got a bunch of work to do today, buddy. Look, every day I'm falling further and further behind. Guess that's part of it. When you're a little bit handicapped. I got this clip point done, ready for handles. I wanted to wait until I was completely done with it and make sure I was happy. There's nothing else I wanted to change, because I plan on making 3 more. If you haven't seen it, this is it here. This is just my Homestead model, but in a clip point instead of drop point. Seems to be a lot more popular. I'll admit, I like it too. But like I said, I just wanted to make sure this was its final form before I copied it to the rest of this steel. I wish there was more people in here I could ask. I really think it wouldn't be a bad idea to have some jimping right there. But I can always add that after the fact. So right now all I'm doing is I'm tracing out this exact pattern onto some more steel. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what you're saying, buddy. Yeah, that's right, Crispy. You just got to keep grinding at it, man. It ain't always easy, but ain't always easy. Planning to put your son of a, I knew I'd do it. I don't know why I can't seem to hang on to these heat pins. Got a bunch of scale work to do today. I got to get DH's scales put on his kitchen knife. I got to get Crispy's scales put on his knife. So I'm kind of excited about those. When I get those glued up, since, you know, once you glue them, there's nothing to do but wait. Once I get to that point, then I'll come cut these out. May even heat treat them today. I got plenty of stuff to grind while my heat treats or my epoxy is gluing up. Or I got these heathers I still got to grind the bevels on. So I got plenty of work to do. Plenty of material to work with. About went broke last month buying knife steels and materials. But it's paying off this month because I hadn't had to purchase a bunch of stuff. All I've had to do now is work with what I got. So it's worked out pretty good. I'm really impressed with this Pops Pro Cut, man. Only downside to it, you know, is it's not stainless. But if you don't mind a carbon steel that's going to patina some, so far I am a fan. I'm a fan of the way it heat treats. I'm a fan of its performance. I have no complaints, other than the fact that what I left sitting here I did not oil because they still had to be ground, so it didn't matter. But just out of what I left sitting here for 4 or 5 days, as you can see. But once again, that's no, those were unprotected completely. They've just been laying here, and we're probably even moist, from where I dipped them. Yeah, it will rust. So, you got to keep that in mind. I know most of us old timers don't mind that. We know we got to put a little oil or some wax or something like that on it. I got those drawn out, so let me grab up Mr. DH's kitchen knife here. I'm gonna do some touch up on the blade, and I'm gonna get the handles on it. That's yours right there, DH. You can see that maker's mark on it right there. Hope it showed up on camera. Somebody asked me about putting a pointy tip on this. I don't try to put a needle point on a chef's knife. I would actually rather have that sharpening, that bevel roll up into that tip so you can actually use it to cut. I don't understand why you would want a stabby pointy tip on a kitchen knife cutting vegetables, but because it will penetrate, because that edge will come all the way up on that tip. So anyway, we're gonna get some handles on this and get them curing. Just gotta figure out what I want to put on it. Now I could just put, just some standard hickory on it. That'd be pretty enough. But DH, while you're here, I'll give you the option. Just walnut handles, or these walnut segmented scale handles. Let me wet this. You can see what it looks like. Which do you want on there? Plain walnut, or the walnut with the Scotch-Brite micarta segment? My opinion is a no-brainer. I'd go with the segmented scale. It's just prettier. But since you're here, you let me know which one you want on there. Yeah, it can chop, DH. It's really thin. These are thin blade stock to begin with, and I grind them really thin. This is a Santoku. It's more of it's more of a vegetable cutting knife, like for thinly slicing tomatoes. Walnut with the micarta. Good answer. Good answer. And that's not very few people in the world own it. I make this myself. It's not polished up right now, so you can't see it, but this is actually Scotch-Brite, a blue Scotch-Brite pad with black epoxy resin cast into it. It's extremely tough, but it looks really good when it's finished. There's no point in finishing them until you put them on. So, and there's the other one right there. You can see a little more of the. Let me see if this pad. Yeah, it's got a nice, you can see there's no texture there. It's perfectly slick, but just has some depth to it. And like I said, nobody else has this. That's kind of a one of a kind thing. For every set of these I make, I probably throw 6 to 7 sets of them in the garbage. It's just really hard to accomplish to not have any voids or air pockets in it. I think I figured it out, so I'm hoping I don't waste any more. But there's literally 2 dozen of them over there that are all garbage. So we'll, that's where we'll start. We'll start with getting yours mounted up on here. And we will go with from there. Because those will have to sit for the rest of the day. I have a really embarrassing confession to make, guys. DH was kind enough to order a kitchen knife for me, sent me the money, and I hate saying this, but I completely forgot about him. Just completely forgot about the knife. I had it made, and I knew when I made these, I was like, I know I had more of these sold. Like, I know these knives have owners, and I usually keep a log of who all's ordered, but for some reason I didn't put him in it. Anyway, I completely forgot about him. Luckily, I was in a chat where I met DH, not on my channel, somebody else's. He wasn't there, but as soon as I entered that chat, I was like, oh, that dude a knife. Fortunately, it hasn't been like months or anything, and he's a really patient, super nice dude. So I called him up, apologized. Here we are today. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get that man's knife done. I haven't been able to work as much as I'd like to, just to be honest, guys. I've been my health issues have just I don't know how to put it. It doesn't have me where I can't do anything. I'm just very limited. I can only work for so long. So I'm gonna clean this handle up some so the epoxy sticks to it a little better. Y'all ain't missing nothing here. Yeah, it's probably not the best idea for a knife maker, or anybody doing any kind of business, to admit something like that. But for you guys who have been around for a while, most of y'all know, man, I try to be an open book. If I make a mistake, I'm just going to own up to it and tell you what I did. Because everything's overcomable. If you communicate with people and make things right, everything's gonna be all right. You like men, sir? I mean, Sam, I know a bunch of men I like. Got lots of male friends. Now, if you mean sexually, it's not really my thing, but you do what you want to do. But if that's what you're here for, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. Because I don't like some that way. Like I said, got nothing against it. I've never tried it, so I could be wrong. But I love the shape of the female bodies. Can't see myself ever wanting to bed with a man. It is funny to me how anytime you get on a line, though, there's always that one guy that thinks it would be funny to ask that question. Like, I mean, it's a fairly middle school joke. I mean, I guess it's funny. I don't know. Because I do always wonder, is that the best they got? Are you gay? Is that the best joke they have? Or maybe it's just funnier than I realize. Because it's a lot of people's go-to. I'm sure at some point in time, they jumped in somebody's chat and asked that, and the guy freaked out and reacted poorly, and they got a kick out of that. So they thought, man, I'm just going to start going into random live streams. And right off the bat, just ask them, you like men? See what kind of response I get. I hope that's working out for you. But I mean, if I had to be gay, just had to, there's just no choice. I'd probably pick Brad Pitt in the movie Troy. That was the most beautiful man I've ever seen. So there you go. There's your answer. That's the answer to the question of the day. Does EDGY American Blades like men? What's up, Knife Nut? How you doing, buddy? So we're gonna get this clip point handled up now. This is for a local customer, so I gotta get this one knocked out. That one too, I was a little bit behind on. Should have already been done with it. I let it take me a little too long. And now hunting season is upon us. And the only reason he's not mad at me, because that isn't done, is because he's under the weather. He's sick, hasn't been able to hunt. But he ain't gonna be sick for long, so I gotta get this thing done. This thing could literally be skinning a trophy whitetail by the weekend. We gotta make that happen. Gotta. Just gonna take my little paint pen here and trace this out on this here. I bought these here long tip paint markers off Amazon. I'm sure they came from China. And I really like them, but the caps are fucking garbage. And they dry up on me a lot. I've yet to empty one, but I've got several that don't work anymore. I've ruined them, letting them dry out. Probably mostly my fault. I'm glad y'all can't see this table and see what a fucking wreck it is. I've got to clean it up here in a little bit. But for now, I want to get these mounted up and let the epoxy be curing before I move on to anything else. Because that's something I can set to the side and let time do its thing, and I can do something else. I got this Swag off-road porta-band table. I've got it clamped in the vise right now to hold it up. I'm gonna build some legs for it. Seems like $90. I don't know if it was worth that price. It's the fact that all the holes are drilled in it and countersunks. You can just bolt it to your porta-band. But this is an awesome thing to have, because to buy a good table bandsaw, you're gonna spend a lot of money. So with this, you can just take your porta band and turn it into a table saw. One thing I wish I had bought with it, I do wish I had bought the foot switch. But I've heard you can get a foot switch at Harbor Freight, because having to put that little Velcro band around the home button, it's a little bit aggravating. If you get the foot switch, you just leave that on there. You just walk up and step on it and it comes on. So a little more convenient. Let me see if I got an orange liner. I don't think I do, but I'm gonna look. I think I see some red liners. I'm not going to put liners on it just for the sake of putting liners. If I have some orange, I would. No, I don't have any. That's all right. That knife don't miss. It don't need liners. So I'm going to scuff these up so that the epoxy sticks to them a little better. But right this minute, what I'm going to do is tape them together so that I can shape them and drill them off of the knife. So all I'm doing is button these together. Hang on a minute, I may have a better idea. That ain't how I do that at all. I done forgot my method. What I do is I put tape on the bottom side of the scale, put a strip of tape all the way down on it, on both pieces, on both scales. Just like so. Now you got two of them with just some good painter's tape. Yeah, and then I'm gonna dot a little super glue on here and glue these together so that they're temporarily bonded, but I can pry them apart because when the tape comes off, they'll come apart. But that'll give me time to drill my holes and shape them to make sure that they match up perfectly. What's up, Gareth? What time is it over there, Gareth? Gareth's in South Africa, guys. I mean, I know most of y'all know that already, but if you was a stranger stopping by, you wouldn't. Got an awesome accent. I love hearing Gareth speak. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this end, I'm going to sand them just a little bit to make sure they're perfectly flush, so that when I shape them, they'll be the, you know, they'll be the same. So now, sorry about that, guys. Now those are butted up. Now I'll tape them to the knife and take it over to the vise or to the drill press and drill my holes so that they all line up. If you watch very many makers on how to install handles, this is the process almost all of them recommend. And I fought it for a long time, doing it a different way. And finally gave in and started doing it this way. And I don't ever want to go back, because there's a reason why those experienced knife makers do it this way. It's because it's the best way. It's the fastest, it's the easiest once you get the prep work done. And it gives you the best quality product. At the end of the day, that's what matters. So now that hole goes all the way through both scales. I always make sure, you butt the bottoms, like this is beige on top, black on the bottom. If there's a difference like that, make sure, they're pancaked together that way. Now for the lanyard hole. Man, I wish more than anything, I've got a bunch of appointments coming up, and I hope they can get me just a little better off than I am. If I could get to where I could work 3-4 hours a day, 4 days a week, man, I'd be tickled to death. I've got plenty of work to do. Unfortunately, there's just days that I can't do it. So now I'm going to go ahead and shake my scale where it meets the ricasso, so that they'll be exactly the same from one side to the other. All I want is a little bit of a radius there. You don't want just a straight line across the knife. It's not nearly as attractive. That looks good to me. I'm gonna switch grinders to do my bevel. That one's just a little too aggressive. I need something I can slow down a little bit. all I wanted there, just a little bit of radius to take that sharp edge off. Now I can pop these apart and make sure I got enough C-clamps available to clamp all this up. I'm pretty sure I do. Looks like I got them laying right here. Yeah, I'm good. And with this one, I can install both scales at the same time. Could have done that on the chest knife, but with them being it's a long story why I didn't. With them being segmented, I gotta make sure those joints meet up perfectly. Now, to get this back apart, I just take the knife, stick it in that little gap, and pry it off. You know, the super glue still held the tape together, but all I'm doing is removing the tape from the G10. And just easy as that, I've got both scales done. They should match up perfectly and bolt right on. That's the plan. And to do that, I need a couple of 1/4-inch dowels to line it all up. Just so happen to have a couple laying here. Make sure, always pre-fit everything, guys. Make sure everything fits, and we'll go through. The last thing you want to do is get your epoxy on. I realize that's got that little burr on it, and it's not going to go through right. So we can fix that right now. I apologize, y'all can't see this. Let me lower these legs, see if that helps any. All my film equipment is the cheapest shit Amazon sells, so bear with me. Let me cut these down so I'm not fooling with something so long. Need my water bucket. This clear Gorilla Glue that you have to dampen, that stuff is amazing, man. It is so strong. Well, y'all caught me doing it. I've kind of broken a golden rule. You know, this grinder has two setups on it. Anytime I'm using this one over here, I typically take this belt off so it don't accidentally bite me. And I didn't do that, so I'm probably fortunate that it didn't. Kind of shocked that it didn't bite me, in all honesty. Because I'm not very good at paying attention to where my body parts are flailing around. You see, I just put those 2 1/4-inch pins in there, and then this will just slide right down on it. Right now I'm just pre-fitting everything to make sure that's going to work. So what I'm going to do is take my Gorilla Glue. Oh, no, wait a minute. Almost forgot. I told you guys I was going to scuff that so the glue sticks better, and I forgot. Give me just a second. All I did was scuff up that backside. All those little micro scratches you put in there just gives the glue a little more to bite onto. Now we're going to put our glue down. It don't take a whole lot. Like I said, this stuff's really, really strong. I like to spread it out with my finger. It's not the cleanest way, but just wipe off the excess there. Now I put my pins back in, my lineup pins, just like so. I'm going to dip the knife in this water bucket because this glue is activated by moisture. Now it will dry out on you if you leave it sitting around open, just because of the moisture in the air. But in order to get it to bond quickly, you gotta dip it a little bit, get a little wet. Everything works and feels better if it's a little bit wet. Guns run better a little wet. Women run better a little wet. So now I'm just gonna dip this in the water. Get that glue, that epoxy activated. Slide it down onto my pins. Stick the pins through like so. And now I know they're lined up. All I gotta do is get it all clamped down. Later on today, I could unclamp these, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave them till tomorrow because I mentioned this in my last live stream. Anytime you're fooling with any type of adhesive or epoxy, whatever it tells you the working time is, if it's something you truly care about and it's important that it work, triple that time. If it says it's, it can be sanded, cut, whatever within, 24 hours, triple that. Make it 72. Because being in a rush like that never ever worth it. And the more time you can give this to cure and do its job the way it's supposed to, the better off you're going to be. Once I've got it clamped, I go ahead and take those pins out. This all lined up now. This is that flat dark earth and black two-tone G10. I like to use that on my hunting, outdoorsy type stuff. Make sure they get glue on the blade, wipe that off, set that over there. I can literally come in tomorrow, shape those handles out, sharpen that knife, it'll be ready to deliver. Shane wants the name of the knife you're working on. Ed, that is the Homestead. You own a Homestead, but you've got the drop point version. That's the clip point. I'd never intended on doing clip points, but I did one for a giveaway, kind of as a joke on Bob DeMarco. And everybody loved it. I think all these I've got, between that one and the ones I drew out on that piece of steel, I think they're all already spoken for. So there will be more of them coming though. So let's see, that uses up all my C-clamps. So while we're waiting on that, we're gonna grind the bevels on this here heathen. I don't think any of these heathens are spoken for. I don't understand. These aren't exactly my best seller. But if you called me and said, hey man, make me a knife, and I said, what knife? And you said, whatever your favorite is, whatever you like, this is what I'd make. I absolutely love this thing. It is kind of a combat knife, so I get it. You know, most of us aren't in a combat situation very often. But it's my favorite knife. For any of you guys who know anything about military history and the War on Terror, a young Marine named Dakota Meyer won a Congressional Medal of Honor. If you hear his story and what he did to win it, the last Taliban guy he had to kill to save his friends' lives, he had to kill him with a rock. He had dropped his rifle. They were in a hand-to-hand combat situation. And he bashed the man's skull in with a rock. And when I set out to design a combat knife, I always thought, my line of thinking was, Dakota Meyer came to me and told me that story and wanted me to make him a knife so he wouldn't ever be in that situation again. This is it. Now, I'm not saying this is the only option. I'm not saying it's the best option. This is my option. This is what I like. I guess another way of telling that story would be, if one of you guys, one of my friends came to me and said, hey, my son's in the Marines, he's about to be deployed, and all they're willing to give him is that piece of shit K-bar made out of 1095, and that's not good enough, would you make him a knife? to go to war with, that's what I'd make. I know people love the K-bar and it's, you know, the whole tradition and, you know, everything like that, but guys, I was in the military. That's not a very good knife. 1095 is not a very good steel. Yeah, Ed, the Thug holds a special place in my heart because it's the only reason I'm still making knives. It's sold enough to keep me going. And it's kind of dumb, business-wise, it's dumb that I'm spending my time making heathens when I could be making Thugs, something that has proven to sell. But at the same time, I still have to make myself happy. And the heathen makes me happy. These were pre-ground, guys. I don't have a whole lot to remove. That being said, I hope it don't take long. I've got some Panto versions of it. I tell y'all right now, I'm not going to grind those live. There's a really good chance I ruin this. And if it happens, I don't want it to happen on camera. I'd rather weep by myself. Sorry about that. I'm sure that's Beth calling about my Part 2 Medicare, like they do 15 times a day. I love how they always have that recording. Some white American girl, and then when you answer, when they click over, it's always some Indian dude. Call me racist, call me whatever you want. You call me on the phone and you've got a Middle Eastern accent, I'm not doing business with you. thing I like about this ProTech, it's very temper resistant. So the odds of you getting it hot and running the heat treat while you're grinding are very low. That's one of the things I enjoyed about using M4 the short amount of time I used it. Alright, this side's done, guys. You notice the tip's a little rounded. I always do that last. I just have this theory in my head that when you're heat treating, if you've got that fine needle point, and I could be wrong, but in my mind I would think it would cook the carbide faster there than it does the rest of the blade. So I've always waited till after to do that. And it's just as simple as that anyway. Only takes a minute to add it. Just flipping the knife over in the jig. Got a new jig coming. Anxious to see how it works out. This is literally the $28 one off of Amazon. Guys, I can't complain. This thing is more than paid for itself. It's not great, but it works. In case y'all wondering, we will not be grinding these down to 4,000 or 5,000 either. This needs a little more of a hardy egg. It is more of a hard use knife. measure this, see where we're at. 35 thousandths, that's still a little too thick. Probably like tender at 1024 thickness there. I don't think it needs to be that thick to be hard to use. Especially since this is so much tougher than 1095 anyway. Just wondering what I'm doing. I draw these lines onto the blade because right now I want to concentrate on removing steel from the edge but not the spine. So I draw those lines. When I drag it across the belt, I can see where I'm removing steel. As you can see, removing steel from the bottom half but not the top. By making those little micro adjustments, it actually puts a little bit of a convex grind in it, which adds some strength too. Typically, I don't worry a whole lot about toughness and strength because I'm making a slicer, but on these I do. Then to get a measurement, see where we're at. Still a little thick. measure it again. 25,000. That's exactly where I want it. Like I said, this won't be as slicey as some of my other models. It's time Kyle sharpens that. It's probably going to be 30, 32 behind the edge, which is still way thinner behind the edge than most outdoors knives. I keep hearing noises right here. I'm gonna open this door. Try to keep somebody from sneaking up on me. I don't know if people out here, if there's a little thunder. I don't think it was thunder, boy. It's pretty outside. Greetings from Glencoe, Alabama. No, I did not say Greenbow, Alabama. It's Glencoe, Alabama. There's my piece of shit GMC. I sure do wish Chevy still built a good truck. Because that one ain't. And that was actually the last year model of them building a decent truck. They built some pretty shit now, but they ain't worth a fuck to own used. What's up, Bugsy? Just trying to get a little grinding done, buddy. Let me get this thing cleaned up and I'll hang it up, know that it's ready for scales. All right, so that's one heathen ready for sharpening and handles. We all let's hang it up, hang it up. Put a nice heavy coat of cutting oil on there. Hang it up over on the pin so I can get back to it at a later date. I guess we could do another one. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. That didn't take very long. Or at least comparatively speaking, it didn't. Compared to what, you might ask? Oh, I don't know, some 65 HRC crew wear. I'm kind of glad to be taking a break from that stuff for a little bit. I love it, man, but God, it's a pain in the ass to grind. This batch of knives, I wasn't planning on grinding yet because I haven't bought the belts for this grind session, but luckily these Norton blades have certainly outlasted what I expected. So I'm getting way more knives per belt than what I had allotted for. So that's allowing me well, it's just allowing me more work on the same bunny. We're gonna pop a fresh one on though. I think my shack feed stopped, guys. Nobody commented. Probably 15 minutes. Well, it hasn't shown up on my screen. If you're in here, just put a 1 in the chat. Let me see if it pops up. Kind of what I thought. Still not seeing anything, guys. Are y'all here? Not seeing anything in the chat. Nothing? Nobody? Yeah, I think the chat froze. I hope it's working on y'all's end. All right, with that brand new belt and the fact that I pre-ground these, that side's ready already. Hope you guys notice here, but this sharpening tool lands dead center of the plunge. There should never be a smile there, and that gives you nearly a 1/4 inch of blade wear to sharpen up this thing before it ever happens. Not that you can't sharpen past that, but the sharpening tool will have to be redone. You don't want to make it too deep. Give the knife a weak spot where it could break for no reason. Can you say 6'7"? Sure, 6'7". Whatever the hell that means. Is that entertaining for you? Get somebody to say 6'7". If it don't mean shit anyway. And yeah, I am one of them old men that had to go to the internet to find out what 6'7" means. Find out that it really doesn't have a meaning. I guess it kind of does. It means like so-so or average. Can you say not Let's do a little bit of everything today, Dylan. As always, right off the bat, some guy come in and ask me if I like men. Sure I like men. There's a lot of men I like. Alright, that was done. You know what, guys? There might be something to this pre-grinding shit. It is severely cutting down on the amount of time I spend grinding bevels. The reason I chose these to try it on first is because it's a thicker knife, so I wasn't as concerned with it warping. And I didn't have any warpage. I was shocked. I thought surely they, because that's what I've heard the downside to pre-grinding is a lot of times they'll warp in heat treat. But I didn't experience any of that. None at all. Maybe I got lucky. There we go. It's another heathing done. I say, guys, this is not a pocket fix blade. This is my full size combat knife. It may make a good, you know, survival knife, outdoors knife. Nice and thick. I don't grind them quite as thin as I do my little pocket fixies because I want those to be really slicey. I need some steel to practice grinding on. Need your steel, peeps. I would definitely just go to Pop's Knife Supply and get some Pop's Pro Cut. It's cheap if you run it. You haven't wasted a whole lot of money. It's a really good steel, so if you don't run it, you'll still have a really good knife when you're done. And Dylan, if you buy some, cut it out, shape it, drill your holes, you know, do everything you need to do before heat treat. Mail it to me. I'll heat treat it for free and mail it back. All you gotta do is cover the shipping. So I'll heat treat them for free. Then you can grind your bevels, or I'll grind you, whatever you need, I'll help you out. But I would definitely get some Pro Cut. And this is why everybody will tell you to start out with 1095. That's just not a good idea. 1095 is not a very good steel. It's not very tough. It doesn't hold an edge. It's very temperamental when it comes to heat treat, where Pop's Pro Cut isn't. And you just end up with a way better knife. You'll spend a few more dollars on the Pro Cut. But like I said, I know you, and if you use your OCD to make sure that, you know, whatever you make is going to turn out nice, your end result will be a decent knife that's usable and worth having. So I would definitely go with Pro Cut. And it finishes beautifully, man. It's mind-blowing how good it looks off the grinder. Like, I've had some issues with MagnaCut where it'll have, like, I call them shadows. Like, looking at the blade, you'll see spots that look a little darker than others. And Pro Cut just doesn't do that. Off a 36 grit belt, I'll go from a 36 grit belt to a ultra fine Scotch-Brite belt, and dude, it looks production line perfect. Yeah. Dylan, I got some recommendations for you if you want to call and talk to me. Now, if you want to spend a bunch of money, and I mean, you've been in the knife business a lot longer than I have, so it may be worth it to you to buy a $3,000 grinder, but I'm working on about $500 worth of stuff over here, and I only needed about $350 of it. As far as grinding, like I said, you know, if you're going to be serious about it, and you know you're confident you're going to do it for years and years, then buy what you want. But yeah, congrats, hats off to you on that, man. Oh, you're going to need an oven next. Or you can ship it to me and I'll heat treat it. It's not a big deal. This Pro Cut I just did on this knife right here. Where'd it go? That'll give you an idea of the finish, how good these look once you grind them. But that's 65 HRC Pro Cut. You can get it as high as 67. I just don't think it was necessary on that particular knife. And I don't trust that guy to not ever side load that blade. Wouldn't doubt at all that he ends up side loading it. So I kept it at about 65 instead of 67. Yeah, Dylan, in my honest opinion, we're only going to need about 5 knives within 5 knife steels in the next couple of years. If you want a carbon steel, Pro Cut is making everything else unnecessary, completely obsolete. Super Steel Steve, he treated some, did his cardboard cut test. It cut almost 400 feet of cardboard before it went dull. They do sell super blue, but I'm telling you, if I buy a carbon steel, just get the Pro Cut. So Pro Cut's literally going to be the only carbon steel we need. When Nitro X7 comes out, that's the final form of Nitro V. It's it's outcutting production K390 with a small batch heat treat, and it's still going to be affordable. So that's going to be your budget stainless. Then MagnaCut we need to keep around, you know, just for its corrosion resistance. And then Magna Max is going to be another stainless high edge retention steel. And then after that, I feel like Rex 121 for your super high edge retention. That's really all we need. But yeah, Dylan, if you're close, it might be worth it to you to drive over there and get it, because the shipping, it comes in a 3 or 4 foot long box, depending on what you buy. The shipping costs nearly as much as the steel does. Yeah. Is it the Pops Super Blue? Super Blue had some hype around it, but it never, I don't know why. I don't remember what the deal with it was, but it just never quite reached what people thought it like. I don't know. People just weren't really all that satisfied with it. And like I said, when you're in that price range, if you're buying something that's not corrosion resistant to begin with, but if there's one steel that's tougher than most of them, now it's not as tough as 8670, but still super tough, and has the edge retention of a lot of modern high alloy steels, man, that's just a no-brainer. Just buy the Pro Cut. But I'm excited to see what you get, Dylan, because I could definitely use a better grinder. I'm happy with what I got and the job it's doing, but right now the only thing holding me back is me. You know, having enough days in a row that my health allows me to get in the shop. That's the only thing slowing me down. My grinder's not slowing me down at all. Hello, Todd Carr. And it's literally a $200 Harbor Freight bench grinder and a $150 jig off of Amazon, not jig, but belt grinding attachment. Just bolts right onto the grinder, man. It's super simple. As far as how long it'll last, the first one I bought, I got about 1.5 years of. It still works. The fine tune on the tracking, the cam in there that adjusts that tracking is starting to get a little wear, so I can't fine tune it quite as perfectly as I used to. So it is showing some wear. The bearings have held up. Everything's held up. It's definitely still usable, but I bought a new one because I wanted one with a 7-inch contact wheel. So yeah. I got to be here till 3 o'clock today, guys. My daughter's having her car worked on, so I had to take her to work. I got to pick her up at 3. She's just 10 minutes down the road. So I got to hang out here for a while. So I guess we'll get back to some grinding, or at least cut out those Homestead clip points. What I need to do is I need to go to Harbor Freight and buy more C-clamps so that I can clamp more scale material at once than what I'm capable of right now. I can only do 2 knives at a time right now because I run out of C-clamps. I actually did go by there and I bought a whole sack full of them. And damn if I know what I did with it. I've got a bunch more somewhere. I just ain't sure where they're at. I do have something we could be doing. I can make some more of this Scotch-Brite micarta. I've got a Scotch-Brite pad right here. I think that could be a little interesting. Something y'all might be interested to see. I think we'll do that. I think I'll go ahead and make a set of these. Let me grab a tray. Basic Chinese made silicone knife scale, whatchamacallit, off Amazon. Silicone mold. Now I'll just take a blue. Now they make a lot of different colors of Scotch-Brite pad. I'll be honest with you, blue's the only one I've had that seemed to have turned out right. For some reason, the other colors just, they just don't look right, man. And yes, this is terrible for your scissors. That's why I don't buy expensive scissors. Because this stuff will ruin them. So look, they're already the right length. Just came that way. Well, maybe not. I'm gonna trim a little bit off the end so it don't bow up on me. Don't want any spring tension on it, pushing it up out of the tray. So I just lay them in there, push them down nice and flat like so. Now I'm going to mix up some black epoxy and pour her in there. Let me find my black mica powder and we'll get at it. Give me just a second. There we go. Black mica powder, 1 each. Need a mixing cup. Gonna need a set of scales. gonna need some epoxy resins, part A and B. You can eyeball this epoxy, but I just don't see the point, man. Buy a $20 scale and get it exact. Seems like the better plan to me. So we're at 2.2 ounces. So we'll put 2.2 ounces of the part B in there with it. Some black mica powder, start stirring it up. There we go, 4.4 ounces. Let me get something clean to stir that with. It does kind of suck stirring it when it's that full. I probably didn't need to, well, I know I didn't need to make that much. As far as the mica powder goes, I don't have like an accurate measurement on that. For a full cup like that, I just put 2 heaping scoops. If you don't put as much, it'll be kind of translucent. You'll be able to see through it. Yeah, I've got it so full I can't hardly stir it. That sucks. I may have to transfer this into something else. My bad. I don't know if I have anything else. Luckily, this is slow epoxy. I've got over an hour to mess with it. What I need is a solo cup. If I can't locate one. Oh, that'll work right there. I probably poured enough here to make 2. So we're gonna see. If there's enough, I might make 2 sets of these. The great thing about this slow cure epoxy is because it takes it over an hour to start setting. It has plenty of time to release all the bubbles, so you don't end up with air bubbles. Air bubbles are not your friend. You'll have little voids in your, whatever it is you're casting. And that's even a way bigger problem when you're doing these Scotch-Brite, the Scotch-Brite micarta. This is going to seem dumb, but I'm going to pour this back and forth a couple of times just to give that epoxy. Let it mix up a little better. You'll have some resin stuck to the bottom of the cup that didn't get mixed. It's always best to have two cups, two bowls, whatever you're using. Pour it back and forth. That just helps make sure when you go to pour it out, you don't want a thin layer of part A that doesn't have any part B mixed with it. And this kind of, you pour it back and forth, kind of alleviates that threat. So you got plenty of time. You literally can't overstir it, so. Thank you, Meathead. If you're here, you just sent me a text. Letting me know where my trash can is. That's probably a hint. Hey, clean up, jackass. Which we are going to do here in a minute. You don't want to pour this fast because it's going to slowly soak down into that. If you pour it too fast, it'll just run off the edges. Just got to get in there, fill all those little voids in that Scotch-Brite. And this is kind of thick and sticky, so see how that one's already soaked up? Maybe I didn't mix too much. Just trying to hit these dry spots. Now comes the important part. This is what I learned. You have to tamp it. Like all of it, every square inch of it, to get that epoxy into each one of those little air pockets inside that Scotch-Brite. If you don't do this, when you cut it or grind it, you'll see all the little voids, little spots where there's no epoxy, and that's no good. I could be completely wrong. We may have to mix up some more epoxy. This is not a big deal, because this is very slow acting, so we got plenty of time. Yeah, we're gonna need a little more. Not much. Another cool thing I like about this is that, I think I already mentioned it, but this makes a very, very tough material. And if done right, it can be really pretty. So, nothing wrong with tough and pretty. If you guys have significant others and you've seen them use bath bombs, how they fizz up and turn the bath water colors, that's mica powder too. That's how they color them. There's a lot of women making bath bombs at home. We'll have an assortment of mica powders. If I had to guess, it's probably what they put in fingernail polish to color it. I know we don't have enough. You guys can't see it, but this gap right here is still there, and there's no, so I know it's not full of resin. Doesn't have enough resin in it. Yeah, now she's starting to fill up. That's kind of what it's supposed to look like. It should be puddled on top like that. That's what a good pour looks like. It's ugly as shit till it's done. You can get this to an extremely high gloss. It'll look like blue electricity running through that black resin. The only downside to this stuff for me so far has been waste. I've done were no good. I think I'm figuring it out. Just tamping it like this seems to really help get it into those voids and decrease the chances of having voids. And since you've got over an hour of work time, the only thing stopping you from how much you do this is just getting bored or sick of it. This is the most I've ever tamped one, so I'm pretty sure I've done a good job here. Because the last one I did turned out perfect, and I didn't put near this much effort into it. Just show you again the result that we're looking for. If I have a piece there. I know I just put some on that knife. I thought there'd be a piece laying around here, as many as I've gone through. There you are, Jacob. Jacob, I need you to reach out to me again, dude. I got a new phone. I'm working on those clip points right now. And I know you wanted one. I've got one right here. I've got heat treated, ground, everything. I just put the scales on it. I got to get finished up. So, I don't remember how we were communicating, but I lost all my text threads, a bunch of my numbers, all that stuff. So I was planning on catching you on DeMarco and letting you know that I don't have a way of communicating with you at the moment. Yeah, there's that, well, you can just barely see it. Well, where's the other piece? Should be able to show that to y'all. I don't know what I did with it. It's out here somewhere. But that's what we're shooting for, is that blue stuff right there. I'm going to move this off the table so it don't get anything stuck in it. And I'm not going to mess with that for probably about 3 days. Well, surely I have a scrap piece of it laying there somewhere, as many as I've done, and they didn't turn out. I guess I threw it all away. What's it looking like? I got a piece of something here. We're going to grind into this just to see what it looks like. This I made a long time ago, but this has got like shredded stainless steel in it. We're going to see what this looks like on the inside, because it didn't look pretty when it was curing, I'll just say that. In case y'all wondering what it feels like, when your finger hits that 36 grit belt, running at 3,200 RPM, it kind of sucks. I don't recommend it. I know already I failed at this. It's got some voids in it. I made this a long time ago. I've learned a lot since then, but I just want to see what it looks like when you get a little shine to it. See if it's even worth doing right. I don't think I like it anyway. Yeah, it's not my favorite look, I'll say that. That's why it's been laid in that drawer for so long. But I'll show you what it looks like if you get it shiny. All that is stainless steel chorboy and black epoxy. It was all learning process. Nothing lost. Nothing but probably a $5 bill. So let's cut out these clip points so they'll be ready for heat treat. Getting old sucks, man. Just like that. Is the handsaw broke? No, sir. I just saved those bandsaw blades for like precision cuts. So let me mark these pinholes. I hadn't been using it for like brainless cuts that really don't matter. That bitch wore out. Might not do much drilling today. I don't know if I've got any more of them. I want to show you though why I put these marks where I do. That's where my actual pin's gonna go. And that's my lanyard hole. But that hole, along with these forward two up here and these two in the middle, are just for the epoxy to pass through. And I like to put it on the edges where the scale terminates. That gives it a good bite. Right there where it's most susceptible to coming loose. And yes, I learned that the hard way. I reached out to Justin at OCD for EDC and asked him what the best cutting oil he'd ever used was, and this is what he told me to get. I don't really have much to compare it to, but it's done a fine job. You guys ever sprain your ankle and not even know how you did it? There was no incident. I don't remember anything happening. But about a week ago, my ankle started hurting just periodically. And last night it was swollen to nearly double the size of the other one. It's starting to throb pretty good right now. I don't remember rolling it or anything happening. I don't know how I did it. Like I said, getting old sucks. I'm going to have to sit down here in a minute. I got some bad cankles. Man, I don't know that they'd take me. I think they'd probably, if they didn't turn you down, they'd probably barter with you on the price. It's just weird. I don't know what I did. Boy, it's sure starting to hurt. There we go. It's another clip point done, ready for heat treat. Do you do ear piercings? Wood in the hood. If you can get your head underneath that drill press, I'll put some holes in the ears. I don't even charge you nothing. Hell, I'll just film it. All right, guys, I'm gonna sit down and take a break. So I guess I'm gonna cut it from here. Been on 2.5 hours already. I still got a couple hours worth of work to do before I head out, but if I get into anything interesting, I'll cut it back on. But yeah, gonna have to take a break for a few minutes, let my ankle swelling go down. But, yeah, see you guys.